I want to ask you a question that is sort of personal, but I also think a lot of guys would be interested in that. What was your experience in threesomes?
Yeah. So, okay. So I want to just give a bit of a background here.
Right.
I was living in a tantric community, basically a polyamorous community. So we're all open and relating in multiple directions. So it was, I'll just say, it was a thriving space to explore threesomes, because it wasn't like you were cheating on someone. It wasn't like, a partner was getting extremely jealous, because usually you would invite someone that you both had some connection with. So it generally felt safe. But I have to be honest, I really enjoy them. Um, I think, okay, I think that we are all highly sexual beings. I think it's the society that limited our sexuality.
Mm.
I don't even really look at being homosexual or heterosexual. I think we're just like attracted sexually to life force and to another human being. And like all
Mhm.
these labels, I think it also really tries to kind of limit our expression. And then so many of us feel guilty when we like maybe would like to explore with the same gender, and it's like, oh my god, it's so inappropriate. But like I feel there's some curiosity. I've heard, for example, I have this guy friend, he said like, yeah, I was gay for a year because I was curious. And like what an awesome approach, right? So threesomes of course require two people to be the same sex.
Mhm.
And I think it's about like a standard thing, oh, two women and one man. And I'm like, well, why? Because two men and one woman is also amazing. So I want to speak about maybe these two dynamics separately. So when it comes to two women and a man, for all of you guys, it's really important that you treat them equally. And most of us have experience focusing on one person. And so the moment you focus on one person, the third person feels left out. Like in a
Mhm.
threesome, it's so easy to be like a couple plus one. So you have to learn to stretch yourself to be present with both people. So what does it mean? Maybe there's penetration with one woman, but then you may be kissing the other one, or you may be looking at the other one, you may be touching her. So you always want to be in some physical contact with both. Now, if a woman is experienced, she will be also doing this, because then everyone is supporting everyone. But if it's your first one and you don't have experience, just remember you always want to be in some contact with both, and you want to give equal attention and time to both women. That's very, very important. Second is that if you have a partner and then you're bringing a new woman in, then naturally it's like novelty and it's different. So you may be a bit more excited about the other woman. So this may be triggering for your partner. So I think it's really helpful to have a bit of like a preparation. Speak to your partner and ask her, how do you feel about it? What are you the most excited about? What maybe scares you? What do you feel may trigger you? What what are we okay to do and what are we not okay to do? You first have this conversation with your partner. Then ideally, if there is a chance, you would have this conversation with the other woman as well. But I understand that sometimes you just pick someone up like this and you just end up home, so you don't really have that space. But what you also want to do is have this type of like a meeting afterwards. So even if the other woman is not available for that, make sure you do this with your partner. Because
Mhm.
guys, I literally had a couple who came to me. They were married for quite a few years. It was good. And then they had a threesome. And she wanted a divorce after a threesome because that's how
Wow.
deeply she felt hurt. This goes back to what I was saying before about don't focus just on yourself. Make sure you focus on the woman so you can feel that, hey, right now she's really triggered. She feels really jealous. Don't just feel about, oh my God, I'm the king of the world because I have two women right now. So that is very important. Um, and also, I would say that as a man, please expect that you may feel some pressure to perform because it's already, like often men feel pressure already to perform with one woman. Now you have two. So it's really good to be prepared because you may have issues getting an erection. You may have issues coming just because suddenly there are two women. So again, as a woman, I know this. So it's a tip for women to make sure that they also like take care of each other. So you as a man, you can feel like, okay, it's not all on my hands and my shoulders, but just be mindful of that. Now, when it comes to a different dynamic, two men and a woman, I think it's a beautiful dynamic, and I would really invite, if you're like into threesomes, just try both dynamics. The most important thing is that you want to be stretching yourself and challenging yourself to be comfortable with the other guy. That doesn't mean you need to touch him and kiss him. You guys don't have to interact, but it really feels weird when you're like, "Oh, don't touch me." Like imagine if you're with two women and that's how they were like speaking to each other. Like, "No, don't touch me. You just touch my boobs now." It would probably destroy the experience. So try to be natural and comfortable, and please don't compete for her. Because when men start competing for a woman, then again it's about you and your ego, it's not about her. And if it's two men and one woman, it's a bit like her experience. So let it be about her in this situation. These would be like my few tips here.
Okay, that's very interesting.